time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, politics, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful friends and loyal listeners. It's always a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. Also remember that we're now on TV. Tune in at watch.kpmedia.tv and catch a moment of Zen on the Impact Live channel, Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. All episodes are now available on demand. We have a great show lined up for you today in My Digital World, brought to you by Tempest Network, which is a Burkhan World project. We're chatting music, NFTs, and how these digital assets are revolutionizing the music industry. And of course, to help me make sense of it all is the extremely popular Karl Wolf. Karl is a 4-time platinum artist, singer-songwriter, and a producer. And in our influencer segment, brought to you by Romulus Entertainment, we are featuring Unique International, Unique Int, another 4-time platinum recording artist, lyricist, and influencer with over 1.5 million followers. And today is his second time on our show, and he's here to promote his new album, Eminence, and how the album's hit single, Nike, is taking over the internet. In our crypto frontier, brought to you by CCP Digital, we're joined by CEO Chris Pulley and Bad Media Group. He's CEO of CCP Digital. He's joined by Reggie Jareth, or better known as Reggie, founder and CEO of the Gather Network. Today, we're discussing the environmental impacts of cryptocurrency and Web3, looking at what the actual impacts of wasted computing power will translate to, and the impacts of advertising changes as a result, leading us to the monetization of websites coming with the changes of Web3. And finally, let's not forget that this is Valentine's weekend. And for many of you, love and friendship are in the air. I will be heading down to Bice Cucina to end my night and grab a well-deserved drink. But I'm going to make sure to take you with me all the way to Midtown to chat with Peter Guimaraes, who's managing director at Bice Cucina Restaurant Group and owner of Bice Cucina in Midtown. And we're chatting aphrodisiacs, drinks, and sexy tips for all you stunners and lovers out there. Come down and meet me there tonight and get your drink on. I'll be right back with My Digital World guest featuring Karl Wolf. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Aikido Pharma, an early-stage pharmaceutical company developing innovative drugs for improving anti-cancer and antiviral therapies. Traded on the NASDAQ under ticker AIKI. They have first-in-class partnerships with leading medical universities like the University of Maryland and the University of Texas. To learn more, go to www.aikidopharma.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Now, up in just a few minutes, we have our influencer segment brought to us by Romulus Entertainment, and we are featuring Unique Int. He is a 4-time platinum recording artist. He's a lyricist and an influencer with over 1.5 million followers. Today is his second time on our show, and he's here to promote his new album, Eminence, and how the album's hit single, Nike, is taking over the internet. The album is a well-rounded dance hall album representing happiness and focusing on getting everyone on their feet. Today, he is here to chat mental health and give us some music advice. He's getting settled into the broadcast room, and as he does that, let's chat music and mental health. There's something about hearing your favorite song on the radio that can suddenly turn boring commute into an exciting adventure. And it's almost magical how listening to your playlist can turn a bad day into a good night. Music is powerful. It affects our brains, our bodies, and our social connections. And there's no doubt that many people have relied on music to get through the pandemic. Stay-at-home orders meant many of our go-to coping skills were taken away. Fortunately, most of us were still able to access music. Music can have profound effects on our physical and psychological well-being. Researchers have discovered it can lessen pain, reduce depression, and decrease anxiety. This is why music therapy is often used as a strategy to treat a variety of physical, emotional, cognitive, and social issues. Of course, you probably don't need a detailed study to recognize the benefits of music. I don't. My daughter uses Baby Mozart every single night to fall asleep. You may have already noticed that listening to your favorite track, or in this particular case, Uneek's case, he loves creating music and this helps him feel better. It got him through some very dark times during the pandemic. But here to give us some sound advice is Unique Int himself. Welcome to the show, superstar.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Congrats on the new album and on your new single. Talk to me about the inspiration behind Eminence and why you choose happiness as your theme.
Well, for one, I survived being with pneumonia for about 2 years. So, I mean, this album is all about dance and happiness and making people feel uplifted with spirit.
Exactly, and a whooping 97% of a recent survey, respondents said that they use music as a tool to help their mental health. And some people used music as a solitary activity by playing it as background noise while they went about their daily activities. And others used music as a means to connect with people. And we saw how music has joined neighbors together in Italy. We saw those videos emerge on social media showing Italians singing from their balconies under full-blown lockdown. And they managed to sing and dance with one another, showing how music was still able to bring people together even when they couldn't be in the same physical space. What do you say to this?
I would say that, The Weeknd is a good influencer. I would say Drake, Taylor Swift, they all coming out with music that is real positive. So I listen to those people a lot. That's what I can say.
Exactly. You need to feel uplifted when you're listening to music. And I know that when you are working on your music and your tracks, you are thinking of being able to share in that moment where you get chills that kind of go down your spine when you hear your favorite song. And sometimes an upbeat song can give you a very much needed boost when you're feeling down. But there
Yeah.
may be times you find yourself turning to a sad song when you're already feeling depressed. What do you
Yeah.
say to that? Because 43% of people who listen to music reported that more often than not, they're using music to actually reinforce the mood they're already in. And while this can be helpful when feeling good, music can also reinforce unpleasant feelings. So what do you say to
Yeah.
this, and what tracks, not your own, I know you said Taylor Swift
Yeah.
and The Weeknd, do you recommend to uplift a depressed mood?
I mean, again, that takes me back to Drake because Drake has the understanding and the thought process of understanding people. So when I listen to Drake, it makes me feel better. He has certain tracks that really influence what you're trying to get out. If you have a certain feeling for the day, I listen to Drake. So
There you go. So tell me about your tour. Tell me about the deals you've signed. Where are you in your career? Because it seems like you are just on super, on like you're going 60 miles an hour here. What's going on?
well, for one, my followers just keep going up. It's crazy, up, 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 and that's a great thing. But I just recently talked to my boy Clay from Universal, which is Live Nation. I've known him for like 20 years, and I've been working with Big Ange, which created the song called "Pop the Lock and Drop It." You guys hear it in the club all the time. She's done many more too, and my beat maker, King Beats, and the jeweler. It was, we put this project together. It was a lot of time. It took like 2 years. So now I'm getting ready to go on tour. I have a Pepsi tour and I have a Universal tour. One is 15 cities, one is 19 cities. I'm also going to be doing a lot of stuff with carnivals. And yeah, I got an album
That's
release
amazing.
party coming up. Yeah, it's a lot.
What advice do you have to independent artists that are trying to get started? I mean, if you could think of three things that one would need to make it as an artist, say in the digital world, what would it be?
You got to be focused because this game, what I've learned is that it ain't that easy. Like you can be talented all you want, but you really got to know how to talk to people, and you got to focus on what you want and stay focused on it. Because the hardest part is to focus on what you need. That's how people even gonna expand with what you're trying to do or understand where you're going.
Exactly. I think focus is critical. And talk to me about some stereotypes and common misconceptions about the music industry.
All right. So the biggest thing with people is when it comes to the industry, I try not to pay attention to those type of things. I pay attention to more like people that are happy and uplifting. So I can't really touch too much on that because if I do, it just brings negativity to the music you're trying to put out, you know?
Right, because some of the stereotypes and misconceptions are people are
Yeah.
promoting,
Yeah.
negative connotations or guns or violence or rape or showing women in a negative light. And
Yeah.
a lot of these emerging artists focus on, sex, on assault, on things that are just not uplifting. You have a very different perspective of that. You respect women, you respect your
Yeah.
environment, and that's what I love about you. It's competitive and cutthroat, like you said. Talk to me about talent versus connections.
Yeah. Well, the thing is what I learned when it comes to the talent, like you got to have talent, but you got to also have connections because people won't really listen to you if you don't know what you're saying. But even if you know what you're saying, if you don't know nobody, it's not like you can do anything with your music because people are not going to pay attention to something if they don't feel that you have the links or you have enough power where people can pay attention to you. It's kind of weird because it's a hit and miss. You could either have a lot of power, but your music's garbage, or you could have a lot of power and you can have great music. But if you got great music and you got power, then it makes it easier for people to pay attention to you.
Followers and fans are so engaged. You have over 1.5 million followers on Instagram alone. You're on TikTok. You trend well. You are very engaged. You're very humble. How has social media helped with your career?
Social media has played a big part of my career because I was able to reach people that I never thought I would reach. I have a fan base that is growing so massively that countries and cities and people and everybody just respectfully respecting me because I'm really putting music out that is so positive that it's getting played by DJs all around the world. My album isn't even out yet. It'll be out by the time this is out, but my album isn't even out yet. And I have so many DJs just say, I can't stop playing your album because it doesn't make sense. Why not play something that is amazing? I mean, I created an album that is seriously amazing. There's no other way to even talk about it. And then social media, when people hear your music and they really like you, they just share it. And that's why I like social media.
There you go. And you know what? You trend extremely well. So I'm going to direct everybody to your social media platform. On the gram, you can find him at Unique INTS, Unique International's World, and it's abbreviated Unique INTS World. And you can definitely check out his new song called Nike. It's the #1 hit of the album Eminence. And Unique, you are one of a kind, my friend. Thank you so much for coming back on and chatting music and all you have going on, because I love the
Yeah,
vibes.
thank you. I appreciate you guys for real. I really do.
Absolutely. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WR, the voice of New York. That was Unique International in our influencer segment, brought to us by Romulus Entertainment. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Revere Securities. Revere is committed to building a relationship of trust in which they work closely with you to help you define your objectives, explore alternatives, and choose the financial and investment strategies that are most appropriate for you. Go to reveresecurities.com. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Tempus, the next generation of the engagement economy, allowing people to make money on their data and earn cryptocurrency for the time they spend on things they already currently love to do. With Tempus, brands will have the ability to pay you directly for interacting with apps, watching videos, playing games, and more. Tempus, the time is now. Engage and earn.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to My Digital World segment, brought to you by Tempus Network, a Burkhan World project. Today, we are chatting music, NFTs, and how these digital assets are revolutionizing the music industry. And of course, to help me make sense of it all is the extremely popular Karl Wolf. Now, Karl is a 4-time platinum artist, singer, songwriter, and producer. He is super talented. He has collaborated with the likes of Timbaland, Snoop Dogg, Nelly, Juicy J, Cardinal Official, just to name a few. Now, he's also the winner of a ton of music awards and 3 Juno nominations. Now, he expanded his creative blueprint and dropped an NFT collection inspired by his hit song, Omicron Queen. Now, Omicron Queen is a parody to Caribbean Queen by Billy Ocean. Just like the Omicron variant went viral in real life, Omicron Queen has gone viral on TikTok and is one of the hottest songs on the short video platform currently. This NFT collection that he just dropped comes just after the release of his album 2 A.M. Vibes, featuring the hit single Getaway. Now, as he gets settled into the broadcast room, let's chat NFTs and music. Now, NFTs are digital tokens stored on a blockchain that can record ownership of items. And they've been developed for a wide range of items, from digital art to event tickets to real-world luxury goods. The numbers are head-turning. NFT sales volume totaled 25 billion in 2021 compared to just 95 million in 2020. Already in 2022, daily sales on OpenSea, the very popular peer-to-peer marketplace for NFT, have reached all-time highs. Songs, albums, music, lyrics, and sound bites all can be NFTs. Now, music was a comfort in an otherwise extremely difficult year. And it's a cruel irony that the artists have captured so little of the value that they create. Now it's all changing, and fast. Here to really look under the hood is singer, songwriter, and influencer and producer Karl Wolf. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hi, Zen. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Congrats on the NFT drop and on all of your success. Music is your life, and you have seen the shift in the industry. Now your music is being combined with digital art to create unique pieces of artwork with music incorporated, such as your Omicron Queen's NFT series. How is this popular music collective of sorts that combines your music and art, along with a focus on the pandemic, allowing you to earn money and monetize your time?
You know what, Zen? It's amazing to have been in the industry for about 10, 15 years. And I've seen a shift from when Napster was there, where people were taking advantage of something that was free, and anyone, could take advantage of artists who are creating music. And generally as human beings, when something is free, we want it for free. And why would someone pay for something? So it's really an interesting shift ever since, even in terms of YouTube, where people have Patreon, for example, and want to support their creator, their favorite creators. I think it's become something of that sort, where your favorite creator, you'll support them by investing and helping them, and essentially being investors in the future of their career. So with NFTs, I've seen, a really cool, interesting thing happen, where people want to go in early on an artist that they believe in, and you can actually, make a profit on it in the future when they do succeed. And I think that's the coolest shift, and that's something that's a win-win situation for the artist and for the fan.
Yeah, essentially, we're talking about digital items, right? Whether that be digital collectibles, tickets to an event, in-game items, or the digital art from Beeple that is now selling upwards of $6.5 million, right? So it makes total sense. Why not apply this to music? After all, the ownership data on the blockchain is what's really important, right? Couldn't the song's metadata, which could be the audio file itself or the rights,
Correct,
also be cryptographically transformed into its constituent parts and royalties paid out to the owner of this metadata? And the answer is yes, they can, which brings me into talking about smart contracts, right? Now, a smart contract is a program that runs on the blockchain. Its code and data reside at a very specific address on the blockchain, and NFTs are powered by smart contracts, which handle the transferability and verify the ownership, right? So smart contracts are one of the most attractive features of the technology. And getting paid as a creative is not always a straightforward process, right? All too often, up and coming musicians are stiffed, right?
Yeah.
Stiffed on their royalties. And smart
Absolutely.
contracts could help mitigate those problems, ensuring that creators aren't cheated, right? So talk to me about the importance of this advancement and how it's going to affect your bottom line.
You know what? Ultimately, if we're going for the archaic, regular way that royalties are collected from societies of authors and composers for like ASCAP and SOCAN for people that don't know what they are, but essentially musicians write songs, put them out there, and then there's societies and companies that go collect your royalties from radio stations the traditional way. This is shifting because what you can do, essentially 50% only is coming to us as artists. You know, there's a 50% out there that there's probably money out there for me that I don't know of that can't be collected because of the country where they are. Maybe they don't know the exact writers. It hasn't been recorded and logged. So I think shifting it to a digital smart contract, it's like there's no other way but you that owns this, and then the money will come directly to you. The only obstacle and the bottleneck that I've been seeing, you know, in the real world right now is the, you know, people getting used to, you know, people who are not familiar with cryptocurrency and NFTs, like my fans, for example, most of them who are still new at this, trying to discover this whole world. And I'm trying to educate them as much as possible by putting like details of, you know, checkpoints and bullet points of how to open your OpenSea account, how to get your MetaMask wallet, and all that sort of stuff. It's been a bit of a challenge and a bottleneck I see, but I think in the future, it's like anything. It's like with Facebook. Once you get used to something, it was all like, you know, a different language for us. But once we got used to it, everybody can be on Facebook, for example.
Yeah, without a doubt. And going back to what you just said, a very interesting point. I mean, for decades, musicians have not been equitably compensated for the music. And this has been particularly apparent in your industry, right? And as reported by Fortune, the typical total revenue split is 50-50, with only 50% of revenue going to the entertainer and the rest shared among agents and distributors. And the reality is even grimmer when it comes to who distribute their content via streaming services. Most of Spotify's top 0.8% of artists earn less than $50,000 in streaming revenue. So this is definitely revolutionizing the way that people are going to be, compensated. And a great example of this is Zora. Zora is a new platform for creators of all types attempting to change this, right? Each time artists that mint NFTs on the platform can set a creator share, which is a percentage that they will receive for all future sales. And these are the types of things that are important for artists like you. Talk to me about how it's been getting your own camp, managers, agents, the people you work with, to jump on board the digital transformation and to help you as an artist, help yourself make money and try to really use NFTs, the blockchain, and all its tentacles to your advantage?
You know what, Zen? That's a great question. In fact, we are dealing with something like that at the moment. I am signing 2 new deals right now, record deals as well. So here's the thing. I was signed with Universal Music. So it was all the traditional way of signing to a record label. There was no such thing as NFTs at the time. Then I broke out of that. I own all my own catalog now. For the past 3 to 4 years, I've owned all my catalog. That means we make money personally. Like I'm lucky in that way. However, you're right about Spotify in that, you know, all these digital streaming sites, they barely pay us like it's 0.003 on a dollar per stream. So let's say you have 10 million streams, and that's a lot for some artists. Like that's a big achievement. You'll make about $26,000 from that. I mean, that's not really a living, you know, that's okay, you know, especially if you're making your own music. You should be making pretty much the whole thing, in my opinion.
I mean, listen, NFTs have the potential to ensure that musicians are really, more fairly compensated for their work. I mean, with NFTs, musicians don't need to relinquish ownership of their content to platforms from the get-go, although they can choose to relinquish the rights of a song or album when they mint an NFT. They can also retain the ownership by baking it into the NFT. So when musicians sell content, they can be compensated directly and and more fairly, really. And if an NFT owner then decides to resell the NFT, the original creator can automatically receive royalties. And this process can continue each time the NFT is sold. And this is all thanks to the fact that there's a record of ownership built into the NFT metadata, which is why NFTs have the potential to change the future of digital ownership, essentially.
Absolutely, and that's what I like, sites like Zora, for example. But I was reading that Zora, so you essentially can get about up to 10% of royalty from each time it sells. But the problem is you got to do it on that site. So I mean, there's a lot of moving forward. There's a lot of hopefully gains that are made in terms of, especially with this research. I love the whole community aspect of NFTs as well. I think as an artist who is pretty successful in my own right in the traditional archaic way of doing things, I've seen that NFTs have worked really well for celebrities who are very, very successful. So the very, very well known are doing well with NFTs. But how do we make it profitable for new and up and coming artists? So my feeling is, and what I've seen out there is that the community is so important. Once someone knows that you've gotten your feet wet with NFTs, they all come towards you. I mean, I've noticed ever since I released Omicron Queen as an NFT, I've had tons of people come up to me, say, you want to be on panels, you want to be part of this community, and people start to take interest because it seems like there is this common denominator, which is NFTs, and that we're all in this bubble together. So that's how you create it. You just got to create that sense of community, and that's where people will
You're right.
be supportive of your.
You are 100% right. Let's go back to that Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal, right? $68.7 billion. Microsoft knew they were buying an engaged community of 400 million gamers, really, and they bought the community. They bought the community. Now, we have about 2.5 minutes left, but I want to address, the big trending topic: cryptocurrency, Web3, and NFTs are all scams. Well, look, it's true that Bitcoin is disproportionately benefiting the earliest adopters, right? That's why I think some of the projects in this space are unsustainable, because you can't reward early adopters at the expense of new entrants, right? And this is very uneven distribution, and a small number of experts controlling most of the value in the system is also not good, right? But from my point of view, this system is so young and we're only seeing the beginning of it. And the Bitcoin market cap is now 40% of the total crypto market cap. And it's been going down, but it's been going down consistently. And in the last year, you've seen the rise of so many new alternative layered ones or second generation blockchains that use proof of stake. And crypto adoption is growing at an astonishing rate worldwide. So, we see that the numbers, the GWI show that 10% of the internet users in the world own crypto assets, doubling from their survey 3 years ago. So, I agree that a system that benefits early adopters at the expense of newcomers isn't going to do great in the long term. But I don't see the crypto space as a whole to be such a system, because we have new innovations happening like every single day. And these different adoption waves and different stages of technology adoption is what's really going to be game changer here. But look, kudos to you, man, for really sticking your head out on the digital process here as a musician. It's not easy, but you're doing great. It's
not easy. Thank you so much. And you know what? It is new to me. I'm learning every day. But I do, I've noticed that I am someone new in my genre, because there's a lot of people in the electronic world that are selling NFTs, and they're very comfortable with that, and their fans are comfortable with it and getting used to it. But for my genre, being in the pop world, R&B and house music right now is a whole new thing. And I'm trying to grab all my fans to go slowly towards this, because I know it's the future. It's going to happen. We're all going to get used to it. It's going to be such a cinch to work with. And we want to be one of the first out there.
There you go. You heard it right here first on 710 WR, the voice of New York. Karl, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure chatting with you, my friend.
Likewise. Thank you, Zen.
You're welcome. That was Karl Wolf from My Digital World. You guys have to check him out on the gram or check out his collection on OpenSea. He's also on New World Marketplace, but definitely on the gram at Karl Wolfs with an S, and listen to the original Omicron Queen track on his YouTube channel. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Tempus, the next generation of the engagement economy, allowing people to make money on their data and earn cryptocurrency for the time they spend on things they already currently love to do. With Tempus, brands will have the ability to pay you directly for interacting with apps, watching videos, playing games, and more. Tempus, the time is now. engage, and earn. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CCP Digital, bringing you a view from inside blockchain, cryptocurrency, and NFTs. Introducing the latest Blockchain Heroes series, Retro Rebellion NFT collectible card packs from the Nifty Company. Available January 2022. Find out more online at ccpdigital.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sands. Coming up in our Crypto Frontier segment, brought to you by CCP Digital, we are joined by Chris Pulley, who serves as CEO of CCP Digital and Bad Media Group. And you can check out our sister podcast at Bad Crypto Pod. He is joined by Reggie Jareth, CEO and founder of the Gather Network. Now, the Gather Network is an online platform that allows publishers to monetize without ads, providing businesses and developers access to affordable and reliable processing power. They provide a safe form of online monetization solution that content creators need in today's ever-growing digital process. They started Gather with one simple mission: to fix the internet's broken business model, and their expertise resides within cloud computing and blockchain technology. Today, we're discussing the environmental impacts of cryptocurrency and Web3, looking at what the actual impacts of wasted computing power will translate to, and the impacts of advertising changes as a result, leading us to chat about the monetization of websites coming with the changes of Web3. Now, as they get settled into the broadcast room, let's chat. Web3 represents the next generation of the internet, one that focuses on shifting power from big tech companies to individual users. It's a term you may have heard thrown around a lot lately. It basically promotes decentralized protocols and aims to reduce dependency on large tech companies like YouTube, Netflix, and Amazon, speaking into exactly what I have been preaching: the need to disrupt technocracy. Now, Web3 makes the proliferation of cooperative governance structures for once centralized products actually possible. Anything at all can be tokenized, whether it's a meme, a piece of art, a person's social media output, or tickets to your favorite concert. But with all this superpower comes downfalls and misconceptions, and companies claiming that they understand the blockchain game when in fact they do not. Here to break it all down are Chris and Reggie. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Zen.
Chris, welcome back. Reggie, so nice to have you on.
Absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Let's start with you, Chris. Now, the basis of it all starts at the roots. Cryptocurrency mining uses significant amounts of energy as part of the proof of work time stamping plan, right? To add new blocks on the chain. Results indicate that in 2018, each $1 of Bitcoin value created was responsible for about 50 cents in health and climate damages in the United States, and that translates to about 38 cents in China. For example, in December of 2018, results illustrate a case for Bitcoin where the health and climate change crypto damages, quote unquote, roughly match each $1 of coin value created. So this is in fact a serious real world issue if not addressed. Now the focus here is to address this ecosystem weakness so that we can in fact be ahead of the curve of this technological emergence. So tell me as best you can what the actual impacts of wasted computing power will translate to, in your opinion, on a bigger scale, and what the Gather Network is doing to mitigate this.
Wow. Let me see if I can unpack that as a big question. But I think the bottom line here is it takes energy to mine for different tokens and cryptocurrencies. That energy's in the form of electricity, and it creates the carbon footprint or the use of our energy. And so the future has to incorporate ways to reduce the power using alternative sources. And I think that's really kind of what it brings us, to why we have Reggie as our guest today, because there's just so many unique, innovative ways in the new Web3 world we're moving into that we can, save money, make money, save the environment, and better our health all at the same time.
Of course, and that Reggie, circling back to the core of what Gather does best, which is seek out relationships with publishers to run 2 lines of code on your website with longer session times so that users' extra computing processing power won't be wasted. Talk to us about the models you have in place at Gather to help mitigate what would otherwise translate to waste.
Essentially, it's fairly simple, right? A user visits a website, they opt in, and the spare computing power is being used to secure the Gather blockchain, right? So in layman's term, you're already paying for your electricity usage, right? Based on your PC, mobile, iPad, gaming console, whatever it may be. In this sense, we're using a fraction, not even such a small amount of computing power, and it's being used for something good. Secure the blockchain, and in return, these publishers get rewards for doing it, so they don't have to rely on, let's say, advertising or current monetization methods, which a lot of publishers kind of abuse today with clickbait, clickjacking, etc., etc. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Chris, Chris or Reggie, look, I feel like Web3 can be understood as the read, write, own phase of the internet rather than just using free tech platforms in exchange for our data. Users can now participate in the governance and operation of the protocols themselves. And what this really means is that people can become participants and shareholders, not just customers or products, right? And in Web3, these shares are called tokens or cryptocurrencies, and they represent ownership of decentralized networks known as blockchain. So if you hold enough of these tokens, you have a say over the network, and holders of governance tokens can spend their assets to vote on the future of, say, a decentralized lending protocol. How do you guys foresee this translating to monetization of these websites coming into Web3 when most don't even understand the actual implications, transitions, software, and even hardware updates necessary?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, was that for me or Reggie?
Yeah, anyone. Dive right in, Chris.
Okay, let me start, just as I'm coming from 10 years in a digital advertising analytics business. And the trend is for all the privacy and the data to then be owned by the individual. That's changing the landscape of digital advertising and ad agencies in the world, and looking for ways to for publishers, if ads are going away, ad revenue is reducing at a rapid rate right now from the privacy and the other networks. So there's got to be a way for publishers to capitalize on the Web3 and also offset the loss of income from these ads. And I think I see it's probably take a little bit of time, but there'll be a tipping point where at some point the ad revenue will reduce and the computing power revenue will increase as the value of the network increases and as the usage is adopted, and there'll be a tipping point. But we got an expert here, Reggie, in my close.
So yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. With what happened with GDPR a couple of years ago, that being implemented, it affected publishers, especially within the Europe region or visitors coming from Europe. Then we have everyone being very privacy centric today. Within the blockchain space, or Web3, if you will, there's a shift towards owning your own data or what's being collected everywhere. So that's, another hit towards publishers and the ad revenues. And let's be very, very honest. Does anyone really, really, really find ads useful? 99 or 95% of the time, I don't think anyone is be like, hey, I love that ad that came up on YouTube before I was trying to listen to a song or something.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And you know what? A great example of the paradigm shift is actually the gaming industry, right? Gamers grumble endlessly about the bugs that developers leave in their favorite video game or how the latest patch has upset the balance of their favorite weapon, so to speak. But with Web3, gamers can invest in the game itself and vote on how things could be run. And large Web2 companies like Meta and Ubisoft, they're creating virtual worlds powered in part by Web3, right? NFTs will also play a huge role in reshaping the gaming industry by allowing players to become the immutable owners of the items they accrue. Talk to me about what you're doing at Gather Network with the way that you're revolutionizing NFTs and your proprietary model, how this is going to play into the proper monetization.
So a way of how, let's say we talk about the metaverse and NFTs, because NFTs are essentially being used as play to earn items, as the most popular thing one of the most popular trends that's going on. To supplement your income, that you're getting within the metaverse from your items or however you generate your items, your P2E items, you can run Gather on top of it. So while you're spending time in the metaverse battling people or playing whatever game it is, secure the opt in and secure the Gather blockchain and get some additional revenue for it or some money.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, I mean, we have about 2 minutes left, but the main criticism of Web3 technology is that it falls short of its ideals, right? Ownership over blockchain networks is not equally distributed, but concentrated in the hands of early adopters and venture capitalists, right? And a public spat recently erupted on Twitter between Block Inc. CEO Jack Dorsey and various venture capitalists over Web3, bringing this debate to the forefront. What do you say to this?
I believe that the landscape is an open frontier, and that everyone is going to be jockeying to get their piece, their control. But the design of the decentralized and the open ledger model, with the ability for the DAOs and open global governance, I just believe we're entering into a new time in history, and I'm excited to be here witnessing it. And I don't believe there's any unfair advantage across all economic levels moving into this new frontier. So the players with the big capital and money, and hopefully they have their heart in the right place as they're entering. But the reality is community wins in the future. Community is Web3. And if you can't win at community, you're going to have a hard time doing business going forward.
Amen. You said it. I echo your sentiment entirely. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Reggie, thank you for giving us so much insight, and congratulations on what the Gather Network is doing. You guys are really on the cusp of something great.
Thank you for having us. Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Zen.
You're welcome. Guys, listen, the real message here is that what happens on the decentralized internet is decided by the investors, versus what happens on the main internet is decided by Twitter, Facebook, Google, and a small number of other companies. So it's up to you. If you want to take the plunge, but be well informed. Definitely check us out. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WR, the voice of New York. That was our Crypto Frontier segment brought to you by CCP Digital. Check them out at ccpdigital.com and check out the Gather Network, gather.network. They're also on the gram at gather_network and at ccp.digital. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Revere Securities. Revere is committed to building a relationship of trust in which they work closely with you to help you define your objectives, explore alternatives, and choose the financial and investment strategies that are most appropriate for you. Go to reveresecurities.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Moment of Zen is brought to you by Bice Cucina and their newest location in Soho. At Bice, you'll be dining in a relaxed and elegant atmosphere with friendly, attentive service that offers delicious dishes from Northern Italy and American cuisine. Bice caters to all dietary needs. A DJ entertains on Friday and Saturday evenings, and live upbeat jazz for Sunday brunch. Located at 15 Watt Street. Online at bicecucinasoho.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams, and I have transported you right here to Bice Cucina in Midtown Manhattan with the incredible and amazing Peter Guimaraes, who is the owner of Bice Cucina, and we are talking about Valentine's Day and the perfect Valentine's Day. And how do we just get there? Well, Valentine's Day doesn't have to be a day of love for all you love bugs. It could be a day of love between fathers and daughters. It could be a day of love between mothers and daughters. It could be a day of love in general. And here at Bice Cucina, we celebrate all of love. And Peter Guimaraes has a very special relationship as a single dad with his daughter, Michaela. She's going to be 17 years old.
No, she's
She's
17.
already 17
New Year's
years
Day
old.
baby.
New Year's Day baby, as my daughter is, January 8th baby. And as she is 17 coming into her own, we are talking about all the amazing ways that a dad can help influence that incredible path into womanhood. And on Valentine's Day, it is the best and most important occasion to celebrate love, family, and everything future. Here we are with Peter Guimaraes at Bice Cucina. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Thank you, my love. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So, Peter, talk to me about your endless love with your incredible teenage daughter.
Yeah, so, everybody tells me that there's only one thing in this world that I love, and that's my restaurants and my daughter. And I think they're true. When I was the latest in the circle of my friends to have children, and when I was growing up, they'd always would have something to do with them. And I used to think, oh my God, these guys are so boring. It's like, let's go to Miami for the weekend. Now I got my kid's soccer match, or, oh, come on, let's go to this club in New York. It's just opening up. Now I got my girls' volleyball team. So now, being a parent, I realize how they blew us off for all those occasions just for their kid.
Oh, 100%.
I do that now. I do a 5-hour commute just to see my daughter play any type of sport.
I know you do. He goes all the way from New York City, Bice Cucina Midtown, all the way to Connecticut to make sure he is a present dad. And of course, as a single dad, being a present dad is extremely important for Michaela. And that is one of the attributes that I adore of Peter.
Well, I remember when she took violin, she was like 6 years old. So I would drive 2.5 hours to Connecticut. I'd get there and she would go for at least 11 seconds. I'd have to get back in my car and drive another 2.5 hours back to get into the city just for 11 seconds of So yeah, I mean, it's you have to put in the time.
And it was the most lovable moments he's ever seen.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about here at Bice Cucina. It's Valentine's Day for the entire world. You don't have to have a fresh new date. You don't have to have somebody that you just met on Tinder. You don't have to have somebody that you need to impress. It could be the good old love affair that you have between your daughter, your mother, your father. And that's what Valentine's Day really is in this 2022 year. It's about celebrating the people you love, the things you love most, and making sure that we stay true to Cupid.
Did you see my profile on Tinder? Is that why you brought it up?
I did. I saw his profile.
I'm kidding. No, I'm not.
I did see his profile on Tinder.
I'm not on Tinder. Liar.
I'm teasing. I've not seen a single profile of Peter Guimaraes on Tinder. The only profile I have seen of Peter is right here at Bice Cucina, because every time I come here, I'm filled with joy and love because he, cheers, gives me the most incredible food and wine. And at the end of the day, food and wine is at the heart of it all. And that's what I love promoting when I promote Peter and Bice and Michaela on this very special Valentine's Day. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. We'll be right back after this with Peter in action for his Valentine's Day signature cocktail.
If you've missed out dining in New York City for the past year, it's time to visit the legendary Bice Cucina. Located in the heart of Midtown, Bice specializes in blending delicious Northern Italian and American cuisine with dishes such as the incredible taglione lobster, ravioli masala, ossobuco, and pappardelle al telefono, along with many other mouthwatering offerings. You deserve a great night out. Call Bice Cucina, 212-757-2600, or online at bicecucina.com.
I'm your host, Zen Sams. We're live at Bice Cucina Midtown with the amazing Peter Guimaraes, and he's about to show us his signature cocktail drink for Valentine's Day. And let me tell you, it's quite the signature drink. It incorporates all of the most important ingredients that will lead you to having the most incredible night of your life.
Well, it's not really our signature cocktail, but ever since Sex and the City came back, we get a lot of women and people that come in here and they want a Cosmo. We do a high-end Cosmo, which instead of triple sec, we add Cointreau. Instead of just regular Rose's lime, we add fresh lime juice. So we make it a little bit special. And for Valentine's Day, we're going to cover it with a little bit of a strawberry heart.
Here we go. Let's see Peter in action.
All right, so we got a little bit of ice that we're going to put in. Hopefully you don't want your girl to be icy on Valentine's Day, okay? So we're gonna have a little citron vodka.
Sure, let's show them a little bit higher what he just poured in some absolute citron vodka into the drink.
I'm pouring a little bit extra because this one is for Zen, and she loves her martini strong.
I do love my martini strong,
bit of,
especially on Valentine's Day.
Some fresh lime juice.
Wow, Peter is really all in here. Fresh lime juice, fresh martini.
And we're just going to do a little splash of cranberry because there's no alcohol in it, so we don't need too much of it.
Right. Anything that doesn't have too much alcohol, we definitely only want a minimalistic approach there. Shake it up, 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 shake it up.
And hopefully your Valentine's Day is shaking it like that. All right. Now we're going to pour it into our Tipsy Girl
Here we go.
Glass
Infusing
martini.
it directly, exactly where it belongs. And now we are going to taste this beautiful drink, the Valentine's Day aphrodisiac, right here at Bice Cucina Midtown, Manhattan, in New York City.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Well, that's the end of our date, my friends. Happy Valentine's Day. Remember, always tell the people you love them, even when it's not the day of Cupid. Remember to join me right here on 710 WR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. or go to 710wr.iheart.com/A Moment of Zen. Remember, we're now on TV. Check me out tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could download the KP Media TV app on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Android TV, and tune in at watch.kpmedia.tv and catch A Moment of Zen on the Impact Live channel, Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. It would not be possible without you. And remember, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.